All right. Mr. Freeze number 3. Getting back to business. No, that's not the title of a Mr. Freeze movie. Like a comedy. But I digress. All right, let's check, make sure I got some audio working. All right, I think it's working. The audio might be a little loud. I'm sure somebody can tell me if it is. Down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I lost all my settings recently. Like everything just reset. So now I'm trying to have to balance everything back out. Very strange, very strange. Hopefully my speaking audio is going to be high enough. It looks like it is, but it could probably be a little bit louder. Let's go ahead and turn that up just a smidge. I'm just going by the gauge. Just going by the gauges here. No real world test, but we'll see what happens. This is my normal speaking voice, so it's probably about where it should be. So we'll see what happens. All right, don't need that. Don't need that. I think what I'm gonna do is just start base coating everything. I think everything's ready for some base coats. I'm gonna do this steel on. Oh, my mic's flopping around. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna do this Vallejo metal color steel for the base and these little capacitor things. I don't even know what the hell they are. I'm not gonna make too big of a deal out of them. They're gonna be mostly covered in snow. So I'm gonna do some steel, and then I'm gonna do this rough iron on the dial like part, the raised parts there. They kind of look like a like a sewer grate or manhole cover. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that in the rough iron. And then this also has to be done in the steel. I don't know what this is. I think it's just a big chunk of metal. It's gonna be covered in some snow too. So the rest of it I'm gonna do in Vallejo Chrome. His body, I want him to be a little more shiny. Let me get this on there first, and that way that can be drying while I do the other stuff, and then I can circle back and start on the ice and the transparent parts. It's gonna be a good day. My day off. Just decided to take a health and safety break. And yeah, just shake the camera. There it does. Look at that. This thing has been sitting for months, so I want to make sure to give it a good shake. I'm really interested too. I want to test out these two like frost effects. I'm looking forward to giving a little test on these to see which one I'm going to like more and how to apply them. I don't really know how they go on. You just brush them on? I don't know. We're going to see. So, this first. To the box. Actually, where's my, there it is. All right. This stuff, I don't think I need to spray it at that high of a pressure here. All right, that seems to be good. I'm gonna run some airbrush thinner through here. These chromes are usually thin enough. I usually don't need to thin it. But I'm being a little hypersensitive to how I'm treating my airbrush these days. I think I just learned I should be using distilled water instead of just tap water, which makes perfect sense. I mean, tap water's got all kinds of impurities in it. It's going to mess with your paint chemistry, you know, and even down at he's like, oh, it's not that much, but it really is. So I am going to try to switch over to using airbrush thinner primarily for any diluting of paint. I'm going to try to switch over to airbrush thinner for now. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'll pick up some distilled water. See if that makes a difference in how my airbrush, you know, functions. It should make the paint a little smoother too. Like it should, yeah, like, so we'll see. I don't know if it's gonna be worth it or not. Not going super heavy with this. I do need to get these guys though. Steel's not a bad color. Tell you what, I'm really banking on being able to hide these imperfections in the snow. As I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I just normally would have wanted to fix. I'm trusting that the snow effect is going to be able to hide it. These gaps. I don't like this, but You know, I think I might use the steel on his little mechanical parts because this is a nice color actually. I'm kind of digging how it's looking. You know what? No, I'm taking thought. This part seems to be a little shinier, so they'll be chrome. Never mind. This is nice. It's the first time I've used it. All right. So that's enough of that business. Oh wait, before I do that, I need to do that big chunky thing over there. I gotta do this business. Second, buddy. Got to do the bottle show. When I go to cut this together, I'm gonna have to remember to flip the order. Alcohol's free. There it is. Ooh. Got a little stick of incense burning behind me and stuck my face right in it when I turned around. That's not fun. I maced myself. Sorry, that was loud. a shake. I don't think I've used it in a while either. All right, let's get this rough iron to go. Oh, that's fun. That's pretty dope. What's up, DL? Ah, appreciate that, man. Thanks. Thanks for jumping in. I don't know if you can hear me or not, since you don't have the volume up. But I appreciate that. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me just type that in. He's got a lot of gnarly parts on his suit. I like it. Come on. That's such a rad looking gun. One of my favorite things of Mr. Freeze. His gun's always rad. It's getting hard to hold. I think I'm gonna need to mount this on some something. I cannot continue to hold it like this. Really nowhere to hold this thing. All right, that's good enough. Yeah, I'm gonna need to find some other way to work on that guy. This is too awkward. Chrome. That's it. Well, that's all for the chroming. Airbrush cleaning. Yeah, I need to make a airbrush cleaning sign for my screen. So whenever I'm just off camera scrubbing, at least I can have a little message up there. I might do that before the next stream. I like the way that, was that iron, rusty iron or whatever it is? I like the way that rusty iron looks. These, the steel and the rusty iron things, these are rough iron. Yeah, rough iron. These are metals that I have not used yet. So I think I'll end up doing a mixture of rough iron and copper, like a reddish copper, when I go to do Juggernaut. I got jugs on my list. All right. First things first, let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. These are everything that I'm going to need later. All my little couple little tests I got to do. I want to do some OSL on the some of the light up parts. So I've got to test that. A couple colors for skin tone. And the weathering effects, all that's going on last. More alcohol. This blue alcohol is probably where I'm going to start next. So let's get the masking off of here. And then, let me think. Not really doing anything else. There's going to be a lot of snow coverage on this. If I take this off, I can go ahead and get these transparent parts treated. I can go ahead and start treating those transparent parts. Let's get into that. Get these things unmasked. Ever so carefully. I don't know how to take this stuff off. Go and dig that out. Sometimes you get this putty in these little crevices so well that there's a lot of surface contact. It doesn't want to come out. a tool. Ouch. Those little things are sharp. Maybe I went through my glove. I just leave these little ice crystals kind of smoky, kind of frosted. I don't know. My intent has always been to go back and to hit them with a coat of transparent, and then a coat of the clear resin, and then make them as crystal clear as I can make them. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna do that. And then tint them a little blue. I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, never mind. I mean, this is a cool look, so I may. I wonder if I can fade it. I don't know. If I can keep some of it smoky and some of it transparent. I wonder if I can fade the translucency of it. I don't think I can. Unless I just go straight gloss. If I do gloss through the airbrush, that might work. Then they'll go from like a frost to a clear. Might be worth a shot. Next, I think I definitely want to do a coat of clear on top of it. There's no real way to feather that, so I'll just have to do a whole thing. It would work for this, it won't work for the other parts. chunk of ice got kind of gunked up right there. I'll just have to load that up with some snow. Well, it's going to be snow anyway. Doesn't matter if it's covered or not, but yeah, like I said, the steel, I kind of like the way the steel looks. Yeah, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies down in here. Jamming all this putty, probably not a good idea. Probably should have just masked off this whole area and painted it by hand. But I wanted the metal to be nice and smooth, at least for the bolt parts, because like I said, most of this is going to be covered in snow anyway, so you're not going to see all of this weirdness. Even if I just left this putty in here, covered up. But as a matter of principle, I want to get it out. Just picking out putty picking. Go back and do a little bit of residue pickup, but as much of this out of here as I can. This is frustrating because there's like a little metal lip right there, so it's just a really complicated little section of surfaces. And this putty is not wanting to participate in its removal. Help me out here, putty. I have to roll it around in there. You have to pick stuff up. Once you roll it around enough, it does eventually all want to come out in one big chunk. Go back and get that. Part of it too is these icicles or these ice things are still ice crystals, is what I'm looking for, are still basically just cured resin. There's nothing on them, so it's very grabby, and the putty is not wanting to let go. I guess the model is not wanting to let go of the putty, I should say. I think I got it. Nope, missed a chunk. Almost got it. This is one of the more tricky spots. Alright, it's good enough. It's all going to be snow in there anyway. Easier than this, I did. All right. Old chunk of putty there. Can't decide what I want to do for my next model after this one. I haven't done a Star Wars character in a while, and I could do a Star Wars villain. Of course, I got a Darth Vader, but the cape on that model is gnarly. I don't know if I really want to get into messing with that. Also, it's not a very challenging model because it's mostly black, black metal. A couple little black rubbery spots, but I mean, for the most part, it's not like a difficult model to paint. I think he's like standing on lava or something, so I mean, that'll be fun. I could do some OSL on there. And of course, I need to run a LED filament in his lightsaber, so that's always a fun challenge. I may do Darth next. I don't know. But I haven't done a Star Wars in a while. I also have a Count Dooku, which would fall into my villain my villain arc for the year. I think I got a Grievous. That would be cool. So, well, I mean, I haven't seen a Dooku. So I might do the Dooku. I don't know. Like I said, Vader. I mean, I'm gonna do a Vader eventually. But like I said, it's not really a challenge. I haven't done a skin tone, like a real human skin tone, in a minute, so maybe Dooku is a better choice. Start with one of the underling villains and work my way up, There's a lot of DC villains that I want to do. I got a Black Manta to go with my Aquaman. May need to do that. Got a lot of Batman villains. Got a really cool Clayface from Wicked. DC villains, I think, are awesome. Eventually, I'll circle back to some Marvel villains. I've got an Apocalypse, X-Men villain. I'll do it. Like I said, I'll do that big Juggernaut. That'll be fun, but that'll be huge. And to be honest, I'm a little kind of burnt out doing metal work. But I don't think there's any way around that. For some reason, most villains have a whole lot of metal. Should go get water. I'm thirsty. Try to not dehydrate myself on my day off. Yeah, the rough iron looks really cool, especially after I get a wash on here. This putty off of here. There you go. Take a little health and safety break. What's up? Just trying to get this putty off of here. Kind of jammed it down into these spaces. Probably a little harder than I should have. Definitely did the job though. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with I like the that rough iron and the steel. Kind of looks pretty dope. It's definitely nice dark tones, which I like. I normally don't jam the putty down in here like this. Thought I'd learned this lesson already, but these areas were kind of tight, and my plan is to not touch up these paint spots. Most of this is going to be covered in snow, so that's why I didn't seal the seams and all the other stuff, because there's just going to be so much covering it that fixing the seams seems like it would be just a waste of time. The ice spikes are solid. They're solid resin. The inside parts are hollow. So I use the blocker tools on lychee, where you hollow it out and then you put on the blocks to make the crystals solid. So I just basically just unhollow them as best as is the word I can use. I don't know, but yeah, for transparent parts, I've learned the hard way that the best way to do it is with solid transparencies, because if you have any, unless you can hollow it out and get to the point where it's like you can reach up in there and clean it all out, that works too, but even then you've got like support marks and stuff on the inside, and that shit always shows through. So after much trial and error, I've decided that the only real way to do the transparent parts is they have to be printed solid all the time. Unless you're putting a light in it or something. But if you're putting a light in it, then you're going to purposefully hollow it out. You can even do that after the fact if it's accessible. You just go in there with a little drill. So yeah, like even if I wanted to put lights up in these, I would have just hollowed out just enough to put the LED in there, and then the solidness of it would kind of you know, the light refracts around inside of it then. I am going to make these a little more transparent, which if you're sticking around, I'm going to take these, I'm going to brush on a coat of clear resin just to, clear it all up again. Give those a quick cure with the hand torch. And then I'm going to do my inking, and then I'm going to do a gloss. And then that should make everything like really super transparent, but more than this. Like right now, everything's kind of smoky and see how everything's kind of cloudy. Eventually, these are going to be clear once I'm done with the process. And then, yeah, once I'm just going to be kind of bouncing around between the character parts and the base. So once I get this ready, or once I get this coated in clear resin and cured and inked, I'm going to give it a few minutes to dry, and then I'm going to switch back to the character parts. Since it was solid, I'm pretty sure the UV light will penetrate all the way. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you don't really have to. I don't know. Everybody's so concerned about curing the inside of your thing, and I mean, while I get that, as long as you're doing a really good rinse job, it's going to rinse out any live liquid resin that gets trapped in there. So you're not going to have like pockets. You don't really need to worry about that. Transparent pieces are, like you said, you have to worry even less about curing the inside because it just goes all the way through. And with solid parts, I mean, you got to remember the printer cured each layer on the inside, so the inside is fully cured, like all the way through. It's really just the outside that you're worrying about. So, yeah. I mean, I guess if people are really worried about like printing or curing the insides of stuff, then you could print with clear resin all the time. My problem is that it just gets it's a little hard to do post-production, or pre-production, post-print production stuff, like getting rid of the little support marks and things, because they're really, really hard to see in transparent pieces. That's my only hedge on printing in clear all the time. That, and I think clear resin's a little more expensive than the gray, which is odd because I'm pretty sure all resins start off as clear, and then they tint it, so you'd think it'd be the opposite. But yeah, the clear resins, the reason why I don't print everything in clear is just because it's a pain in the butt to work with after. This should be a really cool effect, though. I'm looking forward to. I'm really hopeful to see how this base turns out, because I'm doing a lot of stuff here that I've never done before, like with the snow and the ice effects. I've been watching a lot of videos on how they operate, so I'm gonna do a couple real life tests, especially on the frost effects, because I got the Green Stuff World frost effects, and I got the Vallejo effect stuff. So I want to see which one I like better. See if there's any difference in them. There may not even be a difference, but also I need to play around with how they get applied. Like, some people say you can use the airbrush. Some people say to just brush it on. I don't know. So we're gonna experiment with those. I'm gonna do a special little segment on the snow and the ice, on the ice effects. Maybe not on the snow, because that's pretty. I only got one choice in that. But there's a little hook right there. That's why. Why isn't this coming out? Yeah, I've only got one snow effect thing, so not really a whole lot to test there. All right, it's getting annoying. This should have come out long ago. What's going on? But yeah, I do want to do a test on the ice crystal effect, especially before I put it on his helmet. I want to have like a little ice crystals kind of around the base of his little dome, you know. That'll look cool, but I don't want it to obscure his face either, so I want it to be just super, super light. So I'm gonna need to play with it some. Got some residue to clean up. All right, last one. Ouch! Got me again. These little bitches are sharp. Yellow and bleed. No, I didn't go through all the way. Gotta remember not to put this thing close to my face. Fuck around and lose an eye. That's embarrassing. How'd you lose your eye, Bobby? I wasn't doing anything cool. I was working on a Mr. Freeze model. Stabbed myself in the face like a dumbass. I'll fuck around and end up with an eye patch. See, I almost did it actually. Jeez, I'm sitting here jokingly talk about it, but it literally almost happened. I gotta quit turtling. I'm trying to bring this thing too close to my face so I can see what I'm doing. Take care, Uplink. Good luck with the works. Today is my day off. I took a health and safety break today. It's been a rough couple weeks at the job. Not rough, just, I mean, I've had harder jobs, you know what I mean. Came from weird ass background, so I've done all kinds of shit. So just more of a mentally taxing, I guess, the word that I'm looking for. And I've learned that it's important to take care of your mental health. Nobody's going to do it for you. But what they can do is wait until Monday. I will be back and recharged and ready to go. Okay, I really need that to come out of there. Well, if I can't get you out, then I gotta push you far enough in there that you can't be seen. There's a gap, there's a hole here, and the putty is hung up in it. All right, that's all gonna be covered in snow anyway. Who gives a shit? I need to quit messing around with this. Ah, there we go. What kind of putty am I using? Fucking annoying putty. That's what it's no, it's not. It's Plastitac. Normally I don't jam it down into crevices like this, but this model has got a lot of weird little shapes. It's usually, I swear to God, it's usually not this difficult to remove. I don't know what the heck's going on today, but today, part of it too is these little crystal pieces, because they're untreated right now. They're just basically cured resin. They're very porous, or very like tacky or grabby or whatever, to, you know, molecular level, I guess. And the putty is really just really grabbing it. But this Plastitac stuff, this stuff is great. I use this. I've been using this stuff for years and years and years. And I mean, you can see I got this big ball, and you just keep reusing it, reusing it, reusing it. So I think I bought this back in 2022, something like that. I've had it for a couple years. I don't even know if they still make it. I assume they do, because it's awesome. But yeah, like I said, normally I just use it to kind of pat around, you know, difficult edges. But this particular instance, there's so many little nooks and gaps and crevices and stuff that it's just increasing the surface area, and the putty just does not want to let go. But most of this is going to be covered with snow effect anyway. Milliput is that's like permanent, right? I mean, that's like a putty that you mash in to be like permanently stuck. This is just from masking off, you know, paint for painting, or temporarily like sticking stuff together. Like sometimes, like for these little small bits, like for whenever I go to work on her, what I'll do is I'll take an old paint cup, like an old paint lid, like this, and then make a little Plastitac mounting, little mounting spot. See, I've done this for many times. So you just make a little Plastitac thing. We'll just push her down on there ever so gently, and then see, now I'll be able to work with this a little bit easier. That Plastitac, and it doesn't dry out. It doesn't do any damage to paint or anything. Highly reusable. It's just a pain in the butt when you get it into small crevices, which is exactly what I want to use it for. It also works well with plastic wrap. Like, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I had this whole thing wrapped in plastic. So basically, you just take the Plastitac, kind of go around the edge, and then you use the clear wrap to just kind of press down into the Plastitac, and it all sticks together really nicely. It's airtight, and it comes off pretty quick most of the time. In this particular instance, not so much. That's just a scratch. Okay, I don't want this ice to be like perfect crystals. It's gonna be all snowed in. So now I'm just going through with the Plastitac, this little wad here, and just cleaning up any residue, you know, just kind of pushing it in and pulling it real quickly out, and that'll just pick up any little things that I left behind. One there, yeah. Aaron's thinking putty, but it's Huron. I don't even know what that is. you don't. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is just for a quick mask, or around like complicated shapes that, you know, tape isn't going to work. Like if I tried to tape this off, all the little gaps would have just let paint through. Like there would have been zero chance tape would have worked on this. And I normally despise masking, and I try to avoid it whenever possible, but I'm also wanting to use my airbrush more effectively this year. And so part of, you know, working with an airbrush is a whole lot of masks and unmasks, you know, masking, unmasking. And yeah, so it feels so weird to have at this stage to be so incomplete with the process. Because normally I would have filled this gap, I would have filled all these seams, would have filled the seams over here. But since I'm covering most of it in this this weathering effects snow, which I still don't know how this works. Accumulated snow on ground of structures and heavy texture with some glimmer applied with a stiff brush or tool. So I'm just going to pile this on at the end and hopefully cover up all these little gaps and stuff. This, I mean, there's so much going on, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's just go on here like this. Nope, like this. Yep, there we go. I cannot be, hold on. All right. What's up, little chaos? Sorry, I had to jump off right as you came on, I think. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep the frosted ice look or not. I also don't know why this thing isn't fitting down in here like it should. I guess it just is supposed to just kind of ride on top like that. Yeah, there it goes. Make sure this is all copacetic first before I get too far into it. Yeah, I'll be covering up a lot of that with like snow. All these gaps and seams and stuff. Yeah. Cool. Alright. So now is a good as time as any, I think, to do the ice effect on the crystal bits. Missed a spot. Then after I do the ice, I'll do some weathering on the metal. Oh, come on. That is a very small gap. I don't know why I'm obsessing over this. You're not going to see it once I get snow on there. There you go. Got it. All right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So now I think I'm going to do the crystal parts next. For that, I'm going to need a few things. So let's do a little bit of cleanup first. Go there, go over here, work on you, gonna work on you, gonna work on you. So I'm going to need a resin torch. Need a torch. Need a torch. Goggles. And a little bit of clear resin. This is a resin brush I've used many times. Do I have resin in the vat? I do. I have clear resin in the vat. So let's just scoop some of that out. Salvage what we can. All right, and we got a little bit of clear resin. Now, out of the way even farther. So the idea here is that I'm going to take this clear resin, I'm going to brush it on and cure it with a hand torch before doing some inking and stuff. So let's do this. First things first, safety goggles, photo safety. I'm going to take some of this resin here. And just going to start brushing it on. You can see how just instantly they become clear. Just a very, very thin coat. Not going crazy with it. And then after it's inked, it actually gets even better. Main thing is you don't want to leave like little air bubbles in the surface. I know you guys can't see this, but these little ice crystals actually have a tiny bit of texture to them. All right, there we go. You can see how nice and clear that one is compared to the others. Now I'm just going to give it a couple seconds to crystal up here. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Give it about just 10 seconds or so. There you go. Now you can see how different that one is compared to the others. And then once I get some ink on there, it's gonna look awesome. So, get to work. Hey, what's up, DL? I was just showing the crystal, how to get these crystals back to transparent. I'm gonna do a little side tutorial on this when I do my video. Some people just do they'll just do a gloss coat, which kind of has the same effect. I just find that this clear, I don't know, I like it a little bit better. How wet do you get your paintbrush before you apply? Well, this is just so whenever how wet do I get my paintbrush? Oh, are you talking about like painting? I mean, not very. You want it like, you want it right, you want your paint to be right at a point right before it runs. Like if you take your paintbrush and you kind of dip it on your hand and you hold your hand sideways and let it run down, it should move, but it shouldn't run. Like it shouldn't be so liquidy that it runs off your hand like water. But it also shouldn't just like stick and stay put, then it's too thick. So you want it to have it where it has just enough movement, you know, to give you the right viscosity. I think that's what you're asking. This particular case, I'm just brushing on clear resin, so I was thrown off by your question for a second. I'm like, I'm not painting with a brush right now. little hard to see through this orange. Whenever I go to next time I go to paintbrush something, if you're around, I can't talk today. Next time I am brush painting some paint, I will. If you're around, I'll kind of show you how I do the viscosity, because it takes practice. Like there's no way around it. Like it takes a little while to get the feel for it. And now I just do it. I don't know. I do it unconsciously, so that's why I had to take a second to think about your question. Now it's like I can just tell by looking at it, pretty much, because I've been doing this for a while. But I'll show you how I test it, and then that'll make more sense. You actually see it. All right, man, those look really good. Yeah, those look tight. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together. Sometimes it doesn't. Because I was concerned about the dome. Like, is it going to be clear enough? But after doing this, I know that dome's going to be clear enough. The only real question I have now, though, is there's a spot right on the top front. I may end up doing more the crystallize effect over the top and the sides of his dome. I don't want to obscure his face, but his face takes up so little amount of this thing, so I think I may do the crystallization in a couple spots there, just to maybe hide that little spot. Unless this clear resin fills in that hole, smooths everything out. I mean, if that works out, great. So that's the plan anyway. See, I'm not old. I'm seasoned. I'm experienced. But I feel like this was the kind of stuff too that, like, I wish I had known about sooner. You know, when I was a beginner. Like I wish I had I had to go out and find this stuff and kind of just experiment with it, which, I mean, I guess everybody does. I mean, I'm not saying anything special or anything. I'm saying that, like, it sure would have been helpful if somebody would have showed me how to do this stuff. So that's why I'm showing you. But yeah, that crystal effects, the transparency on those look really nice. I don't know if you guys can see. Well, I mean, you can see the difference between the cloudy ones and the clear ones. I mean, they're really They're really clear. And like that's to be honest, like the only reason I'm not doing a Iceman, I mean, besides the fact that I'm on my villain run, but the reason why I have no plans to do an Iceman statue is because I would want to do it in this transparency, and that's, I mean, there's not a whole lot of effect. I mean, there's not a whole lot to paint on that statue. Like you paint the base, you know, they paint the plinth a little silvery color, and then the rest is just clear ice. So it's just alcohol ink and uh, snow and ice effects after that. Which still isn't bad. I mean, it'd still be a cool statue to look at. I'll probably end up doing it anyway, but it's one of those things where now that I've figured out how to do it, it's not really going to be a challenge. It's just more of just a I just don't know how interesting it'll be because it'll be mostly one effect. It'll have some snow and stuff too, though, so that's kind of cool. I don't know. Of course, I'll probably end up doing it. What am I kidding? But thanks, DL. Do you change the size for fitting? I don't know what you mean. Change what size? Like for how I'm going to display it, you mean the statue? I do change the size of these statues. Like this isn't a full 1/6 scale. This is, I think I scaled this down to like 90. I scaled it down by like 10% because he's so tall. Like when he's holding his gun up, and I knew he's going in a glass cabinet, and he would have been just too tall for my cabinet for the space that I have. So I did reduce him down a little bit. That's what you're asking. And like for Thanos, I actually enlarged him a little bit. Not quite. I enlarged him as much as my printer would allow me to enlarge him, to be honest. I really wanted him to be big, but I could only print so big, so this should be going a lot faster. I'm just rambling. Some pooling. Going on a little thick. Hard to see in these UV glasses. Oh, you're talking about like filling gaps. No, I mean those I usually, yeah, I mean gaps are always going to happen, you know? I mean when you print, there's always going to be like distortion in your print. So you're never going to get a full like good connectivity. The best you can do is just kind of orient your prints around like parts that are going to be visible, you know, like gaps in the waist and the torso. If you print those so that they're facing up, then they get much less distortion. When you do stuff like a base, one side is always going to be facing down, and so there's always going to be some pull, and that's what creates the warping of the pieces. So you're always going to have gaps to fill. This particular instance, I'm filling everything. I'm not filling these things with gap filler or plastic wood. Excuse me, I'm not filling them with anything like that because I'm going to basically be covering them over with these big piles of snow. So that's why I'm not filling the gaps in this. You're always going to get gaps though. So the best, like I said, the best you can do is just plan around. So like for the tops, for like his waist and torso, you know, I printed these so that they would come together a little cleaner. Well, I guess I can't really say that because I mean this has like a textured bottom, but this is a bad example. but normally, yeah, I do a lot of gap filling and like seam filling and that kind of stuff, and you just kind of comes with the territory. I don't change the sizes of individual parts for fitting. Like I don't make the keys smaller or anything like that. I do trim down the keys sometimes, so that they don't, because you'll get some swelling, when the resin cures, and then that will cause the key to not fit. So most of the time I grind down the key to make sure I have a flush connection with the parts, the surrounding parts, which that's what's most important. I don't even need to be getting down this close to the iron because the going to be snow down there. So knowing that I'm going to be covering stuff up with that snow, I'm kind of leaning into it. So I'm really hoping that it works out the way I hope it's going to work out. Without it looking bad. I also don't want it to look like I'm covering up lines, you know what I mean? Or like I'm covering up gaps. I want it to look like natural piles. So I have to kind of see where I'm going to be able to spread this stuff out. But I'm excited to do it. Honestly, making sure these transparent parts were going to be as clear as possible. That was what I was mainly concerned with today. And after doing this, I can see that it's going to work out fantastically. So yep. Oh, you use that expensive stuff. I usually just fill gaps with plastic wood, or and then I'll go over it with like a resin coat if I need to really smooth it out. I'll use Green Stuff World putty to sculpt in or to fill in any like super wide gaps. Or if I need to, like I said, resculpt something or fix a misprint, I'll use Green Stuff World putty. Which I think earlier in the stream, or not in this stream, but in the previous session on this, I did some putty work on his armor, that parts that had like been disconnected, and there was a couple little misprints. I did miss a misprint on his waist, his little box thing, but it's kind of in the back. I'm not too worried about it. This is not a centerpiece of my collection, so I'm not too worried about it being absolute perfection. I don't know what that says about me personally, but sometimes you just got to let stuff go, Oh, you have a small printer, so you got to cut a lot of files. Yeah, that sucks, bro, because that's honestly though, that'll drive you to want to go get a bigger printer. Like that's what was happening to me. Like when I started off with a little 4K, a Mono X or a little Mono 4K, and that thing's tiny. I mean, the print deck on that thing is like about the size of a deck of cards. And so once I really started getting into this hobby and really started getting good at it, I realized that like I was just forcing myself. I was not enjoying it as much as I should. So I went ahead and just, got an upgrade. I upgraded to a Mono X, which is a little bit bigger, probably I think what you would consider like a medium-sized printer. And that was great for a while. It had issues printing at the higher, as it got taller, because the way they had the Z screw, like the screws in the back that drove the motor up and down, they were really, really wobbly. Like they just didn't have the stability that they needed. So as the print got taller, it got more and more defective. And so that I combated with for months, thinking that, oh, if I, you know, get a resin, if I heat the resin, or if I keep the enclosure at a certain temperature, and if I do all this stuff, it'll make it better. And it just never did. I should have just replaced the Z motor in it. But I was young and didn't know any better. Um, but I also led me to my M3 Premium, the Anycubic M3 Premium, and that printer is awesome. Like, I freaking love my 3D printer right now. It's got a big ass build plate, it's got a big ass vat, so it holds a whole lot of resin. You don't have to worry about it running out. You also don't have to worry about it like overflowing. Like, I do not trust those autofill thingies. I just don't trust those things at all. And so yeah, the M3 Premium, it's an 8K printer. It gives really great detail. And it's just been a workhorse, man. Like, I mean, I have not had any trouble out of it at all. Oh yeah. Oh, you have the Mono 4. Yeah. Like I said, that's a great printer to learn on, to cut your teeth on. Fucking fabulous printer. You'll learn how to change a FEP. You know, if you haven't changed a FEP yet, you need to learn how to do that kind of stuff. Start on your smaller printer, and just, it's way more easy to deal with that kind of maintenance kind of stuff. And then that will prepare you for like a big printer. And because it's the same idea, the same concept, but it's way easier to deal with on a small scale at first. Because those big print vats are, it's a monster. Like, whenever I have to go to change it, like, it's still, you have to have a procedure, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to. Like, and it's much easier to develop a procedure when you have a smaller, easier to deal with size. Then you're not overwhelmed by that. And then once you perfect your procedure and your setup, whatever you got going on in your space, once you get all that perfected, then when you upgrade, you'll have a better idea of like what you need and the space you need, and all that kind of jazz. Oh, nice. Yeah, you can get, and nowadays too, you can get really nice like 8K printers at really good sizes, for pennies. I mean, not pennies, for much cheaper than previously. Because like, I used to get it, I think I only paid like $500 for the M3 Premium, and I think it's now like 300 something. Like, prices are really coming down, so it's a good time. It's a good time to get into the hobby, for sure. Now they need to start making resin cheaper. That'll be the next. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, that part too, because like, as competition grows, it's better for us. It's better for the consumers, because we get better quality stuff at cheaper prices. At least that's the idea. Resin is expensive for some types of resin. The Anycubic resin I use is pretty cheap. I mean, it's like I pay about $24 for a 1,000-kilogram bottle. Yeah, and that's not bad. I mean, in my opinion, because I've seen them much more expensive. A little bit of a pile there. All this stuff is going to be under snow anyway. I don't need to get all the way down there. But yeah, getting really nice big printers nowadays much easier than or much cheaper, I should say, than they've been in the past. My thing is, it's never about like print speed, or I'm not trying to output like a whole buttload of models. So having the one printer is fine, because the way I space out my production, I'm not trying to like like I said, I'm not trying to have like a whole bunch of printers going, and the size of that thing just like gives me the perfect amount of space for like, you know, loading up the plate with parts. You know, it'll you can just fit a whole lot on that build plate. So I mean, really, like this particular model, I think I ran 4 plates, 2 per base. The legs were by themselves. The torso, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I did like 4, maybe 5 plate runs, you know, print runs. And I usually have something on the print bed while I'm painting, like, so I really should be taking the time to print something right now. But I just switched to a new computer and I lost my my print settings, and so I got to recalibrate. Probably time to recalibrate anyway, because the winter, you know, the colder weather stuff is going to be a little bit different. Oh, it's probably worked out in my favor anyway. I'll just do a little recalibration. But yeah, man, that highly recommend the M3 Premium when you go to do your final evolution. That thing has just been a workhorse, and I've had 0 complaints out of it, 0 problems, issues. If it ever misprints, it's my dumb ass. It's not the machine. You know what I mean? Like, I did an orientation. It's always an orientation issue. It's not like the printer failed or had something weird happen. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do a 2K. That seems like a step down. You're gonna want some detail. You want to go up. You want to go up in case, not down in case. And honestly, too, I used to think, how big of a difference could it be? It's a huge difference. Like the detail that you pick up with an 8K versus, you know, a 4. Like, I wish it wasn't. Like, I wish I could be like all skeptical and be like, you know, whatever. It's printing fine. You can't see it. You can see it. You can't. You really can. Like, especially on like skin tones and textures and stuff. Any little displacement maps that the artist used on the model, all that stuff. Tell you what, this piece of crystal does not connect with that thing at all. I think they designed this thing to be covered in snow. Yeah, that shit did not line up at all. I'm a little liberal here with the transparent resin. I need to calm down. Make sure I'm getting it all in there, though. There's these ice crystals have a little bit of texture to them, so kind of have to mash the resin down in there a little bit. Oh, it holds 2 kilograms of resin. I gotcha. Yeah, that was the biggest improvement, you know, for me, that I appreciated the most, was like not having to be worried about you know, running out of resin in the middle of a print. The relief I felt knowing that the vat is like gonna hold, like I'll never be able to print something that large that it would drain the vat. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's just impossible. glasses down so I can make sure I didn't miss any spots here. This is a big one. You can see little air bubbles trapped in the resin. I need to learn how to combat that. Probably heating it. So, but that's a lesson to be learned on another day. It's not bad. I mean, it's if anything, it adds a little bit of realism in this particular piece of material. But if I was printing like energy or lightning or something else that's not ice, that wouldn't normally have air bubbles in it, that would be a pain in the butt. All right, now I'm just nitpicking this thing. Just to make this super safe, I should go throw it in the cure box for a minute. I don't want these pieces to turn yellow. I don't want these crystals to turn yellow though. So I'm just going to give them a hand cure, and then a couple seconds just so that the resin isn't tacky, and then I can spray them with ink and seal them, and then they'll be safe to touch. That's the thing with these transparent, the light shines through them, so I mean any UV you're curing all the way through, so you don't really have to be too crazy concerned with it. The funny thing is, like on this base piece, I printed it without parts on the inside. That's why this piece is so fucked up. Like this whole corner right here, there's no supports on the inside. I forgot to put internal supports in this one little piece of base, and that's why it's so messed up. That's why I had to dig out the key, because the key misprinted, because there was nothing on the inside. There were no supports on the inside. Ah well, I was too distracted. Like I said, it's been a crazy month, man. That's why I had to take the day off, today and yesterday off, just because I just needed some mental break, mental health time. That's one of those things that I've learned in my old age to closely monitor. That makes me sound like I'm a rage monster or something, but I just mean that like your mental health is your responsibility, so you have to have some metacognition and be able to think about how you think in order to police your own mental health. And I know whenever I'm I know when I need a break. Not trying to burn out. Not trying to burn out again. I work in advertising, so it's a bit of a stressful environment. All right, I think I got everything. Yeah, that looks tight. Look at those ice crystals. Ooh, buddy. All right, let's do some work on these other parts here. Those parts are all too delicate. This base part I'm gonna mask or I'm gonna prime and make metal. Just want to do this part first. this particular case, I don't want to lose too much detail. I don't want to put this on too thick. Not that you're going to be able to see it anyway. She's going to be under that dome. Yeah, I'm super glad I just took some time off to just do this. Definitely needed the reset. I feel much better already. I still got the whole weekend ahead of me, which is awesome. I throw some shit on the grill. Not shit. Throw something delicious on the grill. I got a little bit of freelance work to do. I got this model to work on. Life's pretty good. Oh, that looks nice. Here now, just like yeah. So she's gonna be under this dome. Now these domes, this is where it's gonna get a little weird. I hope this works because there's a couple spots where there was some printing issues, and also I got to do the inside and the outside. So. I don't know if I should do these together or separate. Like, I don't know if I should do the inside and the outside and then cure it, or... There's still a spot there. Can't tell if that's on the inside or the outside. Gotta be on the outside. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna do these. I don't want the, I don't want it to pool at the bottom. I want it to pool anywhere, but let's see what happens here. Alright, I think that's fine. I'm gonna hit the inside just for a couple seconds. No. Not dry enough. It comes off. No, it's dry. Alright. Pull this around the base here. Alright, here goes nothing. If it works on this, it'll work on the other one. Oh, yay. We might be golden. Now for this, I do want to like kind of let it settle a little bit so that I'm not curing it with streaks in it. So but this looks really nice. Rid of some of this piled up stuff up here. Nice thin coat. Just little air bubbles in it. Nothing I can do about that now, but okay. This makes me hopeful that the his dome is going to look really nice. I'm going to give this a couple seconds to settle down. hope my finger doesn't get stuck in here. Okay, good. That would have sucked. 1,002, 1,003, 4. And 11, 12, 13. We'll give that a good 20 seconds. Just to make sure nothing is coming off. We're good. Yeah, looks pretty dang good. Oh, there's the spot. I gotta sand that down. Not sand, I'll just cut it. All right. Looks something like that. I wonder if I should tint her blue so she's a little more visible. I think I will. Definitely see a lot of air bubbles in the resin here, but that's okay. She's supposed to look like she's kind of in a chamber anyway, so that kind of works out. Cool. Yeah, I think I will hit her with a little bit of that blue. All right, last but not least, let's get this helmet tinted here. build that up too much on the very edge there. That's where it's going to kind of fit down into the thing, so it's already kind of tight as it is. There we go. Ooh. It's cured right there where I'm going to grab it. That I'm going to probably end up painting his suit color anyway. A little bit of chrome. This little spot right there. So we'll just hold it by that for now. You can see some like a little in the 3D model where they put some like scratches and stuff in his dome. That's pretty cool. Didn't really see it until I got it to this transparency. Now give it a second to just settle. There's that one little spot right there. Oh, let's drop it. Trying to work out some of these little air bubbles. God, I don't want to touch it. Gonna let that kind of cure for a second. I mean, settle before I cure it. It's really, really hard to deal with this thing. Oh, see, I fucked it up right there. A lot on there. I can see it piled up. Trying to knock it down a little bit. That is too much. I was a little too generous. The gloss will also smooth this out. I don't know why I'm being so particular about it. My OCD is kicking in a little bit, to be honest. Got any? If there's any resin on my hands, go ahead and cure those. Get them off of there. Shouldn't have anything on this hand. This is lint. Oh goodness, I just felt that crack. This is lint-free microfiber cloth. Polish this up just a smidge. It's a little bit sticky. Pretty good looking dome though. Not perfectly clear, but it's clear enough. That may be my new resin rag. I'm not looking directly at that. All right. I think we are good. Said I'm going to put some of that frost on there, so I think that's gonna. But that's not bad. Let's make sure it still fits in the space. Sometimes adding that little thin layer of resin screws with the fit. I'm not sure how this goes on here. There's just a gap. Yeah, it's gonna look cool. It's gonna be just cloudy enough that you can still see his face through it, which is exactly what I was going for. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dope. All right. Well, that's cool. Happy with that. Let's get this resin put away. Then we can get some ink on these things. Set my little resin paintbrush aside with my resin bottle so I don't cross-contaminate. Then this little bit of resin I will pour back into that. I don't mind leaving clear resin in my vat for a long period of time because there's nothing to separate. Like if you leave gray, if you leave your standard resin in the vat for a long time, it'll separate and then you got to stir it and it's a big, pain in the butt. But if you leave clear resin in there, it doesn't do anything. So, yeah, much easier to deal with. I should probably change gloves. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take a little quick health and safety break, and then I will return to put some ink on the ice. Be right back. All right, and we're back. So now I'm gonna take this over to the spray booth. And I'm gonna take some of this blue alcohol ink to give this ice a little more coolness. It's very, very, very icy right now, but this will make it give it a little bit of, icy look, a little more frozen. Right now it's too clear. All right, and then yeah, she just needs to be a little separated from that. So over to the airbrush box, a little alcohol ink. This is just craft alcohol ink, nothing crazy. It's a bitch to clean out of the airbrush, so I like to give it a little bit of a alcohol kind of pre-wash. That way the ink doesn't stick so hard. I used this blue before. Gotta cut it open. Dang it. I hate cutting these things open. They explode. I figured out a good way to prevent them from exploding yet. Oh, you know what? Maybe can I take the top out? Nope, I can't. Maybe I can. Hold on. No, I shouldn't. Just gonna cut it and hope for the best here. Yeah, it's open. Nice. So I'm gonna lower my pressure. There it goes. That looks super good. Oh, I'm standing over it though. My back hurts. Why did I do that standing up? Oh. I don't want to go too heavy. I think it's perfect. Since she's going to be underneath that other transparent piece, I'm going to go a little heavier on her. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Let's go get this ink cleaned up. Then we can get back to business. I'm super happy with that though. These things are going to take, the alcohol's going to take a little while to dry. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. So we'll let that ink set, and then I got other stuff to do in the meantime, so that's perfect. I'm making a lot of progress today. It's exciting. I should probably go dump this water. It's gonna have all this alcohol in it. So be careful what I touch. I learned the hard way that ink, this alcohol ink, is silicone. It doesn't matter. It will stain. It will stain silicone. It will stain stainless steel. Like, even though it says it's stainless, it's not. It'll get everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and break down my airbrush real quick. Get that nice and clean. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm super happy with how that ice turned out. Holy crap, that looks great. Not to butter my own biscuit, but dang. This looks like it's coming out clear. There's still a little bit in there. It's clean enough I can pull the needle out. Oh, and learning that I've been cleaning my airbrush wrong all this whole time, like for years, for a couple of years anyway. That was I just learned that recently, that these airbrushes are designed for the needle to be pulled out through the front. That way you're not pulling paint material back up through the airbrush, you know what I mean? Going there with a Q-tip. We don't, but like I said, these inks get kind of get into everything. Oh, hey, what's up, DL? Welcome back. I got the transparency. I got the ink put on the ice parts. They look really, really good. Like they got just enough. They have just enough, like a transparent kind of fade, like from blue to transparent, that it just makes them just look, really, really nice, like ice shards. I'm super stoked. And then these like crystal dome bits, they turned out pretty nice too. I went a little heavier on her because she's going underneath that clear dome. But I got to put a little bit of a primer on there so I can paint the base of her little capsule in a silver or a chrome. Right now I'm cleaning the ink out of this airbrush because it is not fun. This ink will stain everything, so I want to make sure to get it out as quickly as I can. Alright, that's pretty clean. Let's clean this tip here. Yeah, the best way to the little float in the tip of the airbrush. The best way I found to clean that out is just take a little bit of a paper towel and roll it into the finest tip that you can make, and get there and swab it. But cleaning this little float is important. It's the choke point where the paint and the air come together. So if it's gunked up with the paint, residue, or whatever, it's just a perfect little pocket of space that I used to neglect cleaning. Probably why my airbrush on my other airbrush went to shit. I have no doubt my lack of maintenance knowledge made that happen. So, trying to get better about it. So I will be back to painting shortly. Got to finish. I need one more pass. I can reassemble this airbrush. That ink's got to have time to dry anyway. And like I said, you would think it dries fast, but I think the alcohol in the ink evaporates quickly. But the ink itself, like the pigment, needs a minute. Needs more than a minute. Needs a little bit of time. I don't know exactly when it becomes done, cured or whatever, dry, but we're gonna give it ample time. It's one of the other things too I'm trying to be a little more conscientious of is like letting things dry naturally, like just taking my time, taking my time with the project and not trying to rush it so hard. Even though arguably some people say I probably take a little too much time anyway, but I need to let the process play out in a little more of a natural way, and that I can only force it so much, Besides that, it's supposed to be enjoying it, right? Which I do, and I am. So there you go. Also want to make sure I take good care of this airbrush because I paid a lot of money for this thing, and it's awesome. Let's turn up the pressure. No chunks, no spitting, all that's good. Get some needle back in here. Alrighty, I believe we are good to go. I love this airbrush. It's probably one of the best presents I ever bought for myself. Yeah, it's part of the territory deal. It just comes with it, and when you get an airbrush, and you got to take care of it, and it's a time sensitive thing. It's not like something you can just like, oh, I'll come back and do it later. No, it's by then it's all fucked up. So yeah, you gotta take the time and do it. Just 50% using it, 50% cleaning it. All right, let's see. We're gonna set these aside. I'm happy with those. I need to do the base metal on the body and the legs, and for that I am going to use, what am I going to use? Where's that? What did I pick? Gunmetal blue. So I'm going to thin this down, and I'm just going to lightly go over the areas. I'm not going to like try to fully coat them. I just want to almost just give it a little bit of a tint, and then that way some of the spots that are still silver, like the bands and stuff, everything will kind of blend together a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna see it. I'm not gonna try to control it so much. I'm trying a slightly different approach nowadays. I feel like I tried to control too much with the brush. All right. Anyway, we're gonna put this gunmetal on. I almost went with the elven armor, which is bright blue, but I think that's gonna be too much. This should be just the right amount of shine, I think. Plus, I'm gonna thin it down quite a bit. I'm gonna go gunmetal blue, Vallejo, with a whole bunch of airbrush thinner. Ooh, this is actually a really nice color. Oh, got blue in that rinse water there. Gotta be careful with it. Okay, yeah, I gotta go dump that out. Actually, where can I dump that out? That ink is gonna be. I don't want to stain my sinks. Interesting. All right, I want to have to think about this. We're gonna worry about it later. We're just gonna be very, very not contaminate everything. All right. I am painting these. Maybe I should start with his legs. Yeah, let me start with his legs. Also, let me make sure my pressure is right. Trying to go hard. This is a very delicate, almost just a tinting of blue. Gotta do the gotta do the tanks. Forgot about his backpack thing. I think I may have need to add a little bit to his leg armor here because I don't think I evened them out enough. I gotta clean this airbrush real quick. Oh, I missed that one. Dang it. Alright, well, I'll have to do that. I gotta take a break, though, because I'm super hungry, and I've been at this for like 4 hours now. So I'm gonna take a break, go find some grub, and then I'll be back. Touch that spot up, and then I think I need to. I should probably seal everything after this, actually. So yeah, after I'll let everything dry, touch that one spot up, let it dry, see if there's anything else that needs to be touched up while I'm at it, and then I gotta gloss everything, all the the ink needs to be sealed in. All that stuff's got to happen. So, but he's looking pretty radical. Gotta go back and go over some of these bits with the chrome with the brush. I think the hoses I'm going to do in black, like a matte black. Then I got to do his little energy piping here. And I'm going to do that with some OSL. That'll all be white. First will be black. I gotta test out that test out which of these blues I want to use for the OSL. This technical blue or this contrast blue. I think the contrast blue is gonna be better, but I'm gonna test it and see how it works. So, but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, and then, like I said, come back and get everything glossed, and then yeah, keep trucking. So I may restart a stream here. It's 4. I don't know. We'll see. See how I'm feeling. I will catch you on the next stream. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one.